All right. Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday. Woo, 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 woo. That means it's Boss Up and List Day, our all-day virtual listing party. Oh, no. I totally, broke the rules and didn't mute my video, so I'm terrible. I'm a horrible person.
You can hear your echo.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Anyway, it is Boss Up and List Day. So that's our Wednesday all-day virtual listing party. And then this is our Boss Up and List live show, which is the show we do at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesdays. And we actually have a guest right now who is having some technical difficulties.
I think
this is now, Laura. Is your last name Franzeca?
Franzeca.
Franzeca.
That's
okay,
close.
Franzeca.
That's close. Italian bakery. It's Franzeca.
Ah, Franzeca. Anyway,
so
with
the hand.
So Laura, we can see you all right now, but Laura can't actually see us because she's using Surface Pro or something, and for some reason we can't get the camera to work on the other side. So we can see her, she can't see us, but that's okay. We're okay with that.
And her microphone's a little bit in and out, so hopefully we'll be able to get through this without too many difficulties. You look great though. Well, thanks. And we have your whole face now, not just your chin. So it's at a perfect angle.
From the other side, so it might be a little muffled because I had to. It's held up. Yeah. So anyway,
we can hear you.
That's all right.
Okay.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay. Anyway, how's everybody's Wednesday going? Hopefully good. We got about 25 people hanging out right now. We got Debbie and Emily and Rita and Linda. Dawn's Bargains. Hello. Danny Hardwick. Hello. Oh, Donna Thrifts is here all the way from Scotland. Hello.
Love our international friends that watch the show. It's fun.
Absolutely. And then Lorna is apparently taking a break from all of the work she's doing on trying to get things under control in her workspace.
In her listing workspace area, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and if you guys, if you're in the Boss Facebook group, and if you're not, you should be, so join it. The link is down below in the description of this video. But if you're in the Boss Facebook group, Lorna yesterday posted a video from her YouTube channel. She's got a few videos up there. And she is currently going through the crazy journey of basically she's got like 5,000 items in her store, but a lot of them are super old. A lot of them are super low priced. And so right now she's trying to declutter her life and her store. So she's basically while a lot of us are listing, she's like unlisting. So she's taking, she's trying to balance it with listing new items as well. But she's every day she's taking a bunch of stuff down, donating stuff, selling through other methods.
Clearing out the junk.
Absolutely.
Just getting rid of the dead weight that's not helping, not selling, not whatever.
Yeah, because she's been selling on eBay for a long time, but she's realizing that there's a lot of ways she can tighten things up. And so if you want to check out, if you go into the Boss Facebook group, again, she linked that video there, and you can go ahead and follow her on her YouTube channel and follow that journey, because I think it's going to be super cool. I'm sure a lot of us deal with having too much stuff or too much clutter.
I know that I could take a tip and probably reduce at least 10% of my store, which is just old crap that isn't selling and I've had for over a year, and I probably have not much money invested in it, and it's been through millions of rounds of sales and promoted listings and still isn't selling. That means nobody wants your shit.
Yeah.
So
it's very possible.
I've got a bunch that I need to get rid of too. I just need to find a time.
And plus we all evolve as sellers, and so as well as the market evolves. So the reality is the stuff that I was sourcing even 6 months ago or even a few months ago may not be stuff that I would want to be picking up now. So it's really a matter of kind of learning from what you're selling and what you're not selling and taking things off. Are you hearing a little bit of an echo?
Yeah.
Oh, now it went away.
It's gone.
It went away. Anyway, so, you have to evolve what you learn what sells, what doesn't sell. And then also as the market changes, maybe you were selling Tommy Bahama shirts like crazy 2 years ago. And now it's the market's flooded with them. Nobody's really buying them unless they're the ones with the huge embroidered logo stuff on the back. So it's you just have to be able to adapt. You're never going to be able to sell the same stuff forever. It's just the way it is right now. Mid-century modern stuff, which I think Laura sells a lot of, is super, super hot.
Fantastic MCM stuff.
And maybe 5 years from now, maybe that trend's going to be over for a while. You never know. So you just got to pay attention and be changing with things. So Lorna, we're going to be watching you, and I'm excited to see what happens.
I think her sales are going to go up.
I also think you're really silly and funny in your videos, so I enjoy that because, as you know, I think I'm pretty silly and funny.
You definitely are pretty silly and funny.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for validating my feelings about myself.
You're welcome. I'm definitely the straight one to your crazy. So
that's true.
I'm nowhere near as funny or silly.
She's my Dean Martin.
That must be it.
Anyway,
I need to start drinking more, apparently. Maybe then I'd be funnier, and then I'd be more like Dean Martin.
Hey, as long as you're laughing at my jokes, I'm happy, right?
Yes, I do all the time.
Making her laugh is like one of my favorite things. And then when she gets like, when she like loses control and like is really laughing hard, she goes into like this kind of Ernie laugh because it's this kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it because it's like I gotta get you.
It's the no sound laugh. It's like. It's like kind of like dog from Hanna-Barbera. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? That dog from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons that just like.
Yeah, Lorna, I'll actually share. Well, Lorna, you're if you just look at her name online with Lorna Jane, that's the name of that's her YouTube name. So you should be able to go and find her channel. I think she only has a few videos.
Yeah.
And so the one I'm talking about is the one she just posted yesterday. So yeah, so online with Lorna Jane, you can see her in the chat.
Yeah, if you click on her little blue name with her little wrench next to it, that just means that she's a moderator or an admin, and she can throw out the weird spam bots that sometimes pop up in chat.
But I will also add a link to her store down in the description of this video once this live part is over. But yeah, for sure. And as Lorna says, find the boss group, get in that boss group. There's no reason for you to not be in the boss group because we're totally boss.
It's a fun group.
For sure. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, like before we totally get started, is today is the 30th, which means in 2 days we're hitting like summertime, June 1st.
Well, it's really and June 20th is usually summer.
Whatever. Everybody equates June with the first month of summer, okay? I don't need you naysaying. I want you to just you're right. You should also.
It's already summer.
Anyway, it is. Well, yeah, here in Vegas, it's already pretty much summer. We're gonna hit like 100 degrees today, so whatever. Anyway, June 1st. That's when the change goes over for free returns. So, guys, I've been doing free returns for a few months now. I sell men's clothing. Personally, I haven't really seen an increase in returns. I get that that's maybe unusual compared to some other categories, but for me, it hasn't been an issue. For you, you've been doing it for a few months as well. You've definitely seen more returns. Because
I did it for, I do a lot of women's clothing. I do women's and men's, so I have about a 50-50 split there. I have definitely seen an uptick in returns the first month that I did it, although the last 3 weeks, they've definitely slowed down. So I don't know if it was just like a new, I don't know.
It's hard to say because I feel like returns come in waves anyway. So it could have been just that it coincided with one of those crazy waves where all of a sudden you get like 5 returns in 1 week and you're like, what is happening with my life?
Yeah, I went from like under 3% returns to just about 5% in a 60-day period. And again, that's not ridiculous. Considering I sell probably, I don't even know, I'd probably have to look at it to get the real numbers, but about 70-75% clothing. And my returns have all been clothing, and they've all been on fit. So even with measurements, it is what it is. Women, I don't care. We all know this. If you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. A size 10 pair of jeans is not the same across the board. Doesn't matter what the measurements say. You've got to try it on, see where stuff fits your hips and your butt and whatever. So I've gotten a lot of returns on women's clothing, despite the excessive measurements that I put. So it's just, I think it's just the nature of the business, but we'll see. I mean, I think I said it before. I think I need to be doing this a full 12 months with free returns to have something to compare year over year.
Yeah.
I need to know if it helps me increase my sales, if the benefits outweigh, the cost. It's just a part of doing business.
Kara Cooper says she thought the free return change is the end of June. They've been saying June 1st, so unless that's changed, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I thought it was June
started
1st.
it a couple months ago, Kara, so I'm sorry, I don't have the exact
I thought it was June 1st.
Summer seller
pretty
update,
sure,
I guess you could
somebody wants to go check for us real
Google
quick.
that quickly, that'd be
Look
great.
at the summer seller update. I believe it's June 1st, but anyway, regardless, a lot of people are still kind of like on the fence about it.
And people were really freaked out because we couldn't differentiate international free returns from domestic. I will tell you, in the 60 days or so that I've been doing this, I haven't gotten one international return, and I couldn't differentiate. If that were the case, I would probably, take a case by case and decide whether I wanted to accept the return or just let them keep it and forget it. Depending on what the item was, but I haven't gotten any.
Sometime in the next couple of days, they're supposed to be adding the ability to differentiate between domestic and international. But same thing for me. I haven't had any returns internationally. I've never had a return internationally, so
me either.
I'm not super worried about it.
I think I've had one.
Yeah, and I do a lot of international sales. So the free returns, it's not to keep top rated seller, because top rated seller, you don't need to have free returns to keep that. You only need it to keep the
top rated plus
the plus
10%.
Yeah, I think the badge of the 10% discount. So
June 21st. Thanks, James Rye. Somebody looked it up.
Okay, so I guess I need to change it. Anyway, my whole point is that I still want you guys to consider trying the free returns. If your whole thing is that, you don't care about keeping the 10% discount or whatever, what I've been telling people is to try it for a month. If you hit a point where you are paying more for return shipping labels and from increased returns than you get with your 10% discount, then maybe then you can start to think like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this. But I would just say, just try it. Just try it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's certain things that weigh, if you have something that weighs, I don't know how many pounds and is going to cost $40 to ship, do you want to do free returns? I get it. No, you probably don't.
I have some sets of dishes and some things that are like really heavy that I am not going to offer free returns on, period. It doesn't make sense.
You could have two different return policies.
Business policies. I have like 10 or 20 items. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to offer free returns. If I do something wrong, of course I will accept a return, but I want to be able to have that conversation with my buyer personally and figure it out on a case-by-case basis. And that's okay too. I just won't get the 10% final value fee discount on that specific item if I don't offer the free returns on it. That's all.
Alice asks, do you think more buyers may buy more across the platform knowing they can return items easily now? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of research. Go out and Google like research and data around returns, around free returns. There's actually data that shows that a longer return policy actually reduces the number of returns you actually get. So you know how like we're no longer going to be able to do a 14-day return policy except for very specific limited categories. But you can do 30 or 60. The research is actually that when you increase it all the way to 60, your returns tend to go down because there's this whole thing where, for one thing, there's no urgency to get something returned. And so they kind of put it off because most of us, I know I am, are procrastinators.
No.
How dare you? And so, so you get something and you're like, I'm not really sure, but I have time to return it. I'm not going to worry about it. And then like a month goes by or 2 months go by. And then there's this whole other thing where people become attached to an item. So then they're like, you know what, I've had this for a while. I kind of like it. And then they just never return it. I know I've had stuff that I could easily have returned and I put it off and then I get past the window and I'm like, I guess I can't return it now. So there's a lot of research that shows
you're a procrastinator. You fit into that category.
But there's definitely a lot of research that shows that the longer return policy, the more lenient your return policy is, the less returns you actually get. And then when it comes to free returns, that's all about giving buyers a sense of security and a feeling that, okay, I'm not entirely sure about this purchase. I'm kind of on the fence about it.
But I'm going to get it
anyway.
What?
I can return it if I don't like it. So I'm going to go, I mean, have you ever done that? Listen, I got a dog once. I'd been looking at his picture for a few months. I kept looking at it.
You returned a dog?
No, I'm trying to tell a story here.
Sorry.
Come on. I didn't return a dog. Anyway, so I went to go see the dog. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go look at the dog. I'm just going to go look at him, guys, because that's what you can totally do. You can just go look at a dog that needs to be adopted. So I go look at the dog. I meet the dog, right? He's super cute. And then they're like, oh, you want to take him home for a 2-week trial? And I was like, I can take a moment, try him out for 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I'm totally going to do that. And if it doesn't work out, I can bring him back. Yeah, I knew the second I put him in the car that he was like coming home with me. That sucks. But anyway, so the thing is that people, you know, if they're like, I don't know if I should spend this money. It's $100 for this dress, but it's really pretty. And then they're like, but it's free returns. So if I don't like it, I can just return it. I could totally return it. And then I won't be out the $100. So then they buy the dress, they get it home and it is totally cute. And then they're like, I don't want to return it. So I don't know.
So that's a very long story saying that you like having a long return process, but you don't.
Do you guys realize like how rude she is to me?
Anyway,
my point is there is research. It is true that having a more lenient return policy, including free returns, will lead to more sales, but it won't necessarily lead to as many returns. In fact, it won't. Not 100% of your stuff is not going to get returned. Okay?
Right.
So anyway, whatever.
I was just going to. Tony beat me to it. That's how I got my husband. 2-week trial. I could return if I wanted to. I don't have a return policy. I put her in a van and a moving truck and moved her, 1,800 miles here. And now I'm stuck with her.
I don't have anywhere else to go, guys.
She's homeless now. So I really am kind of stuck with her. Emily was saying she's putting on her buyer hat. I ordered an adapter for my netbook. They sent the wrong one. And when I asked to return, they said, can we refund you $6 and you can keep it? No, I paid $12. Yeah, I'd have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, that doesn't even make sense. It's like, what are you going to do with it? You're not
sure, I'll pay $6 for something I can't use. That's just poor. That's a bad seller. So hopefully you can accept that.
And the other thing you have to think about is with the free returns is that clearly this is something that eBay wants us to adopt, which is why they're putting it as one of the requirements in order to get your 10% discount.
Which means it may eventually be a requirement to sell on the platform.
Well, which means that I guarantee you that is going to affect your placement in the search. It just is, just like free shipping. Like when they have their list of things that they want us to be doing, their list of best practices, those things are going to get priority when it comes to the search. So, I mean, if you want to sell on eBay, then you have to take those things into consideration.
It's true.
Anyway, that's my spiel.
So maybe we should ask Laura about herself now, since we've been babbling.
That's crazy. All right, let's talk to Laura. Minutes. So Laura, this is Laura Franzeca, guys.
Yes.
And she has a pretty sweet accent because she's in Michigan right now. Hi, Laura.
Hi. I did not know I had a sweet accent, but thanks.
She just said, I did not know I had a sweet accent.
Well, we're going to be in Michigan in September, actually. We're going to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a convention for a whole week.
Yeah, Laura, how close are you to Grand Rapids?
Grand Rapids is like 2-3 hours from here, something like that. Not that far.
A bit of a haul. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be.
I'm down for a date. I'll come meet you, ladies.
Yay! That'd be fun. We'll have some spare time.
Michigan is beautiful. It's a beautiful state like 8 months out of the year. The rest of it is a little cold for me, but
yeah, we're going to be there. Supposedly, it's supposed to be great weather when we're there. We're going to be there the second week of September.
Yeah,
from like the 10th to the 16th, I believe. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. All I know is I think we're going to be there. We're going to miss by like a week or a day or two. Like, what's the thing called that you guys have? It's like the art walk or art something. That big, huge art thing they do.
Oh yeah, I've never been to that, and it's disgusting to say the lover, and I've never been. So maybe this is the year I will go. Yeah, it's like they do installations all over the city, and yeah, I forget what it's called too, and I've never been there.
I'm kind of excited. We're going to be downtown because it's going to be at the convention center, and we're staying. I think I just booked a bed and breakfast at Airbnb that we're going to be staying at for a week. So I'm kind of rather than staying at the hotel convention center, because that's always so pricey when there's a conference going on. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. I've never been to Grand Rapids. This is the first time I go to a yearly convention, and this is the first time that they're having it there. And I'm kind of excited to check out that city. That's part of the fun part of they change the city every year. We get to check out new cities and new downtown areas every year. So that's fun.
House of Rocks, aka Dana, wants to know, Laura, if you are a youper, a yowper. What the heck is that?
No, I'm not a youper. Who are from the Michigan. So I actually, after the UP was 3 years ago, and fell pretty hard and fast in love. So we take about a week vacation every year up in the UP now, camping right on the shores of Lake Superior. So
I've seen
make it up for lost time.
Is it Michigan? Is it a hand? Is that what's supposed to be the?
It's a mitt.
The mitten. The mitten. And
yep, we're a mitten.
Will tell where they live by where the mitten is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
See, I've seen this before. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of like the beach, like on Lake, is it like you said, Lake Superior, and it looks like you're on the beaches in Florida. Like it's gorgeous.
Yeah, all of our Great Lakes are gorgeous. Yeah. And there's, you know, unsalted and shark free is the slogan. Like nothing, even just floating your legs without having to worry about something biting your ass while you're in the water. So yeah, that's my.
I don't think we're going to be close enough to anything like that, but where we're going to be. But I'm kind of excited anyway. So,
well, I want to know about you as a seller, because I was looking at your store and it says you started in December of 2015. So, what's your deal? When did you start? Why did you start? I know it is when I started. Why did you start? And like, are you full time?
Yeah. As I hang my head in shame, yes, I am full time. I didn't sell my first item on eBay until July 31st, 2016, actually. So okay. I quit my job right around that time, maybe a couple weeks after that, and it was just time to leave the position. And I told my husband, I think I can do this full time. I've been selling stuff locally on Craigslist, supporting my own art and pottery addiction. And I'm like, this area here in Michigan is just ripe full of mid-century modern goodness and art.
And I mean, tell that like, from your store, you have fantastic items.
Yeah. There's just like no end in sight to it. You know, I have to like talk myself off the ledge. Like, you don't need more things. Like, so I've been doing it. I don't think I really got serious until about like March of 2017 is really, I really was like, okay, Laura, like, are you going to do this or not? And I'm still just not where I'd like to be. So I know that I need more items in my store. First, every time I hit a milestone, you know, 400 listings, 500 listings, it was 700. I just feel like, you know, when is the time will I start selling every single day? Like, you know, I'm still going through, this weekend was horrible. And then I didn't sell a thing yesterday. So it's like, when will this just start paying me when I don't have to be listing fresh items every single day? I try to do at least a relist every day, and I get fresh ones up probably 4 days a week. But, you know, I want to be able to take off for Memorial Weekend and not pay the consequence for like the next week.
Fair enough. Okay.
I mean, I do feel like the daily listing.
This is really timing.
Yeah. I mean, the daily listing, I do think is super important. I don't know if you could ever really get away from that. I mean, one way of potentially getting away from that is if you schedule listings. I don't schedule listings.
I don't either. Or if you do a bunch of drafts so that you can make them go live while you're gone from your phone or something like that. That's kind of the way that we did a little bit of that when we were on vacation in Rhode Island. I will say that the nature of this business, or the nature of the eBay website, the beast that it is, that none of us really understand. We don't really understand how the algorithms work, but I do know, and it's been proven time and time again to me and everybody else that does so, the more you list, the more you sell, obviously because it's a numbers game. But also if you list every day, whether it's new or changing up listings or relisting or sell similar, at least a few items, and you're in there and active in your store, it does something to the algorithms that shows that your store is active and your items, you know, start to sell. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that. I wish I did, because I'd be a bazillionaire, because everybody that sells on eBay would pay to have the secret formula that is Cassini. Nobody knows what it is. People claim, nobody knows. Not even people that work at eBay. Really,
well, and part of the reason they don't tell you exactly how it works is because
they don't want you to game the system.
Somebody will game the system.
Yeah.
It's just reality. Somebody will figure out a way to artificially do whatever it is that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then, so they have to keep that stuff kind of ambiguous.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a numbers game. And I don't know if you're a mom or not. You didn't say, I know it's difficult, especially when you have children in the house and you've got your mom responsibilities and your wife and household responsibilities and all that kind of stuff, to fit in enough hours in the day, every day, to work.
Yeah.
It seems to be, even though it's much easier to be self-employed and work out of your house, one would think, it was almost easier when you left the house to go to a real job, because you're forced to be in a different environment and you're not being pulled in 900 different directions when you're somewhere else for your 9-to-5 job. You're just there. You're at your office. You're at wherever you work, outside of the home, and your husband or your partner or your kids are not expecting you to pick them up here, drop them off there, pick this thing up here, throw another load of laundry in, all that kind of stuff that gets in the way of that, 8 to 8 hours a day solid work. It's a little bit more difficult when you are in your house and you're trying to give yourself some type of schedule. I've been self-employed working out of my house now full-time for about 8 years. And I still struggle with the schedule and making myself do things at a certain time and not getting distracted by every butterfly. You know, oh, wait, something else, squirrel. Like I'm in the middle of listing and then, oh crap, I got to check this thing on Facebook and just, it's a struggle. It is. It's different when you're, you know, punching a clock somewhere else.
So Laura, you say you're full-time. How many hours a week do you think you actually work on your eBay store?
Actually work not chasing squirrels, probably about 30 if I had to be. I guess I'm not really full-time worker.
So say like
certain
3
weeks,
hours a day?
Well, she said 30 hours a week.
Oh, 30 hours a week. Okay.
My weeks kind of fluctuate with my life, if you will. I do buy storage units sometimes too. So if I've bought a storage locker that month, my work week is going to be 60 hours a week. But one of the big things, I just have never liked to work too hard. I work to live. I don't live to work. So I don't think I'll ever see that part of me. So, you know, like you were saying, like getting distracted and getting on schedule, that makes me feel a lot better that 8 years later, you're still struggling with that, because it's like, I feel like, why can't I get my crap together? Like, what is wrong with you? But yeah, so that it's an area to work on, I guess.
Well, okay, so I guess my question is like, yeah, you want to be able to be getting more consistent sales, but are you in a position where it's like you desperately need to bring your sales up, or is it more just like you want to, but you're not super crazy dependent on that extra income? Because obviously, if you want to have like, you want this to be a job where you're not working too crazy hard. I mean, it just depends on like kind of what your actual goals are and what you need to be doing. Like, do you need to be, even though you don't want to be working harder, do you need to be working harder? Like, where are you at?
I need to be working smarter, I think, is number one. So yes, we need my income. We don't have kids. My husband works full time, but we definitely need my income, you know, float part of the bills, and then it's our fun money. So the more I make, the more fun we can have. That's what we're all about. So yeah, I'd like to be making about double what I am. So I get really tied down. I buy a lot in quantity. So I've been really trying to work on streamlining that and, you know, not touching things multiple times and really picking the cream of the crop, if you will, to list on eBay. But it's like I take one step forward and then 5 steps back, you know? So and then it's like I get hung up on one kind of item. So like a few weeks ago, I purchased 5 garbage bags full of fabric for 25 cents a yard. So now I've had, you know, I got about half of it listed, but I've got the other half of this, you know, literally weighing me down, moving 100 times in my office. And it's, so yeah, I just need some focus, I guess, and some advice on what should I be focusing on? You know what I mean? Should I just scrap this fabric and sell it on Facebook? And I don't know.
Well, okay, to talk about the fabric stuff, I did take a look at your fabric in your store. Now, fabric is definitely not my forte. I've sold it here and there occasionally. I think fabric is very much about the quality and the pattern as far as how it sells. Right. Your pictures for the fabric are fantastic. Your description is fantastic. I think that you will sell it better and faster if you change your fabric listings to just specifically focusing on the fabric for the moment. Change your fabric listing to free shipping, because fabric is a category that is very saturated. So I think if you change it to free shipping, there is nothing, whether you have 4 yards, 5 yards, whatever you have, there is nothing that you have that is not going to fit in a flat rate box. It won't fit in a padded mailer, but it will fit in a box. So even if you're looking at like a medium flat rate box, increase your price by that amount and put it free shipping. So at least you're higher in the search results in the fabric categories.
Right.
That's my suggestion on that. And that's something that you can go in and bulk edit based on the category. It'll take you 5 minutes.
Right.
I think that'll help you there. You just started listing the fabric, so I can't tell if, I mean, the ones that I saw were real cute, real good. It's not old, ugly, outdated fabric, and a lot of the upholstery fabric is really high end and really nice looking. So again, I'm not a fabric person. I don't know if we have any watchers on for the show that may have some better tips for you, but if you do, please feel free to comment and we'll share the tips with
and everybody. I have Laura's store is in the description, so if any of you want to go ahead, click on it, look at it while we're doing the show. If you want to, you know, offer up any tips. That's great. I mean, I do think that like bottom line, your sell-through rate's pretty good. It's you're at about 9% for a month.
That's better than mine. My sell-through
which is
rate's
okay.
like 8%.
Yeah, and mine's like 10%. So I mean, some people have more, some people have less, but that's a decent sell-through rate. So it really is bottom line about having more items in your store. But I'm totally on board with you with the whole working smarter, not harder. The way I operate, it's like, I only shipped out a few items today. I go for higher price stuff. Like I don't want to have to hustle and list 20, 30, 40, 50 items in a day like some people do, and go on Monday to do my shipping for the weekend and have 80 items to ship out. Like I don't want to hustle like that. And so I focus on more quality, higher average sale price items, so that like I can only sell 15 to 20 items over the weekend, but make really good money. So that's kind of like what I focus on.
Yeah. And I try to do the same. I think we both, her average sale price is a little higher than mine because some of her ticket items are a little higher. And, my average sale price is $40 to $45. And that's kind of where I try to stay. Sometimes it's a little bit higher. Sometimes it's a little bit lower. Like I said, we all have bread and butter items that are going to be a little bit lower priced, but they add up. So that was my only suggestion on the fabric. Don't ditch it. I mean, I think if what you have up listed so far is any indication of the quality of the fabric, it's good stuff. I think that, it's not the most exciting thing to list, so you should be, but it's also not difficult. So, you couple of pictures each thing and your measurements, and you pretty much can sell similar and just get them, plow through them. So, I mean, I think that your fabric is really good. I like the way that you've shown you show the pictures for the fabric where you put like a little swirl and, like you twisted it up a little bit, and a lot of them, that looks really good. So, I mean, like I'm not a fabric seller. I'm not a fabric buyer. I will sell fabric when I find it, if cheap enough. Just an uneducated fabric person giving you my opinion on it.
I don't know anything about fabric.
Yeah, I would definitely do the free shipping on it though. Because it's such a big market, and there's so much fabric that I think if you put free shipping, you're just going to be up higher in the search results for those items. And I think you'll find yourself selling them because of that. Because I think fabric is, like I said, it's one of those categories. There's just so much in it. And it's really hard to subcategorize certain fabrics because there's just so much of it. I know that when I've tried to buy fabric here and there, and it's very occasional, I think I've probably bought it 3 times in my life. It is just, I just end up going into like Joann's so I can see something in person, because I can't sort through everything on eBay. It's hard to find what you're looking for.
Yeah. And, Emily says, I agree with the not touching stuff too many times. We just recently, you used to have a process where you would go out and source, you come home, you'd be all excited. You do all of your research first, which made sense when you were having like Dana help you with some listings.
Yes.
But now that you're doing most of it yourself, it's like your process. Explain what your process used to be.
Yeah, my process used to be I would buy an item, I'd bring it into the house, I would research it, put a little sticky note on it with a price and some keywords and what I want, and then I would put it in a pile, and I would try to pile the like items together, and then it would go to be photographed, and then it would go to be listed. So,
but when you listed it.
I listed it, I already had my research.
You were touching it again.
Right.
But a lot of times you said you would research it. You would end up doing your research again sometimes.
No, I didn't
measure at the.
When I had the sticky notes, I didn't need to do that. But I was touching again to do measurements or to weigh it or whatever. And that seemed like a pretty streamlined process for me. And it was when I had Dana, my assistant, when I had her doing listing for me, it was, especially because she was new. It's brand new to listing. And I wanted her to have the keywords and the pricing and how I wanted to ship something, whether it was first class or priority or whatnot. If I put her on a few more hours a week and have her do some listing again, she's experienced as a seller herself now with her own store. I wouldn't need to give her anywhere near as much instruction as I used to. It would just be so much faster. But that was my process before. And now that I'm doing everything myself, I don't even research it as it comes in, because I kind of know what I'm going to sell something for when I buy it. So I'm not spending the extra time doing research until I actually go list it. So,
well, and because we went away last week, you tried doing things my way, which I buy my stuff, and then I go and I photograph it, and then I measure it right there while I photograph, measure, and I have like my little notebook, and I just write down kind of shorthand and weigh it. And it's all very shorthand, like, so I know what it is. I know the measurements. I know the weight, and then I can put that stuff away and I don't have it anymore. So when I actually go to list, that's when I do. Notebook. I'm working off my notebook, and I also have my pictures because all my pictures sync to Google Photos. So they're all in the same order. So I know, oh, that's the next one. And I do my research at that point if I need to. A lot of the stuff, again, especially because I only sell men's clothing, it's like I pretty much know what most stuff is worth, and I might look it up real quick to see what it's currently selling at. Yeah, it's definitely like that, making sure, like figuring out what works for you, what kind of process, and streamlining it. And making
for clothing, I definitely am going to adapt to our method. Just using it while we went away, so that I was able to just take a notebook with me and list from remotely.
So you can list anywhere. You don't have to even go to a coffee shop.
I've never been able to do that before because I always had to have the item in front of me to weigh and measure. So that was something. Again, this is not something I'm saying you need to do. May work for you, may not.
Yeah, it just shows there's different ways you can do things, and just kind of figuring out like what works for you.
That process works for me for soft goods, not for hard goods.
So Laura, what is the status of your unlisted stuff that you have in your possession right now? Do you have a lot?
Oh, I have a ridiculous amount. Yes, I have everything from something as large as a 24 square foot baby grand piano shaped coffee table. Oh, well, that one is listed, but to a Hollywood Regency coffee table, to smalls in between. Yes, I have a lot of stuff. I have a storage unit. It's not a typical facility. I rent like behind a business, so I have a little more leeway and a cheaper rent, but that's pretty stuffful. And here at my house, my biggest backlog of anything is clothes. I hate to list clothes. I get listing clothes. But I have a lot of money sitting there. Like, I've thought about.
Do you know, like, how well do you know how much your stuff is worth?
Pardon?
How well do you know what your stuff is worth?
The clothes that I know what my stuff is worth, probably 90% of it. And the clothes I've already picked through and pared down and donated the crap. So what I have left is pretty good.
Gotcha.
It's horrible.
Well, I mean, I can only say you could be like Katie, and Katie just refuses to list anything that she does not find interesting or exciting because she's going to do what you're doing.
That's what happens. It just
sits there. Just sit there, and she won't list it, and she'll be sick of it, and it'll just so she won't do it. I list everything, and I know what you, and kind of like you do, and from what I can see from your store. But of course, we all have those things that kind of get pushed aside and pushed aside and pushed aside. Like right now, I have a fantastic set of dishes that I just have not. I don't know why. It'll probably take me 10 minutes to list in 3 listings. They've been sitting in the corner for almost 2 months now in my office. And that's probably my oldest item. But, you know, I guess you already did what I would have suggested to do, is just pare down the crap that you're never going to list and get rid of it. So you're already there. I don't know. You just have to list it. You have to do
Here's what I would say is, okay, first of all, is just coming up with some sort of like decent schedule of like regular listing. And that's part of like that whole like hashtag 2 or 2 thing that I do every day in the Boss Facebook group. It's just about like getting into the habit. So like, of course, some days you're going to want to do more than just 2 listings, but even on those days,
as a full-time seller, you have to do more than 2
you have to do more than 2 listings. But the idea behind it is even on those days when you don't want to do anything. And so in your case, let's say you want to go away for the weekend to go hang out on the lake and have a good time, which go do non-work type stuff. Sounds like a lot of fun. On those days, like what she was saying, like Vikki was saying, is like, getting into the habit of always having a few drafts, so that that morning when you get up, you're going to go, you can go even from your phone and make your drafts live.
Yeah.
So on those days, like that'll literally take you like maybe 60 seconds to do that. And then bam, you've got your 2 for the day. And this is just on those days when you don't want to do anything else.
On the days when you're having a really good day and you list 15, 20, 25 items and you plow through them, put 5 or 10 and save them in draft mode. And then later on in the week when you're having a crappy day and you don't feel like doing anything and you're just sitting on the couch watching Netflix, then or you're off doing something with your husband, then make a few live, make 2 or 5 live those days. You really just need to have daily activity in your store if at all possible. That's what's going to help you with your sales.
You just make it a habit, like brushing your teeth in the morning, taking a shower. It's like you do those things because you just do them. I mean, it's just something you do every day, and You're used to it, and you would feel weird. And
even when I
gross if you
don't
didn't.
want to, I make myself sit and do a few listings a day.
Yeah.
And of course I have days when I don't want to. Last week, I probably only listed 25 new items the entire week when we got back from our vacation. I just wasn't feeling it. I was tired. We were running ragged the whole time we were on vacation. I just was not feeling it. It took me a while to get back into the groove. So, you know, we all have crappy weeks. You know, it just can't be every day. You know, I mean, let's go over some of the details of your store specifically.
Okay. Do you want to like actually go over and like look at it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're gonna share our screen. All right, hold on. That was my little mini song. See, Laura, you got a mini song out of me.
That was your segue right there.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna go over here. How do you say the name of your store anyway? Is it MI80 Baby? My 80 Baby?
Michigan.
I know it's
baby.
Michigan, but do you say Michigan?
You can say both ways. That's why I think it's the perfect name. It works both ways. So it's My 80 Baby or Michigan 80 Baby. And I was born in 80, so it's perfect.
That's what I was going to say. Were you born in 1980?
Took me a long time.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
So she really is like a little baby.
She's really.
I don't know. I'm like
your age.
I'm 1 year older, so you know I'm much more mature.
I'm a bit older.
Yeah, she's like real old compared to us.
I'm 5 years older than you.
My husband's 4.5 years older than I am, so it's same deal.
There you go. There you go. All right, so we're looking at your store right now. I know you can't see it, but we're looking at it. Let's see. I'm going to go into actual what you're sold. Like, so you have listed right now 715 items, and like we were saying, I mean, what was your first impression of her pictures?
Love them.
Yeah,
great pictures.
Well, thank you. My photos are actually all thanks to Katie. She did a post a long time ago challenging us about our photos and our lighting, and I was so annoyed with having crappy photos, and that was like the best $160 I ever spent was on my light kit. So I also love my photos. Sometimes I'll just show my husband, look how good this looks.
Yeah, you know what? Your photos do look really good. Your black background pops with a lot of those bright colors. They're all square, they're bright, they're clear, they're well lit, very well defined. Your photos are far better than most of mine. So
well, and I like how like on
certain
certain things, like you have a black and white check fabric that you don't just have it laying flat, you have it kind of crumpled a little bit. But
that's
like
what I said about the fabric. It looks good.
In a good way where you can see texture and
depth and texture. It's really good.
So it's definitely like grabs your eye.
Yeah, not a single critique on any of your photos, honestly.
I think you have a very small, the majority of them all have square main photos. There are very few of them that don't. And I don't know if those are like older ones or what, but they're very, very few. So
they're very few, or it might have been something long that she had to crop.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough too.
Yeah.
And I have some of those too, like pantsuits and things. Forget it. It's really hard to get a square photo.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, your pictures are great. They really are. I don't have anything to say.
No, pictures are great. Titles, I think your titles are pretty good. I do see a little bit of like using like punctuation and stuff like that in your titles, which I would suggest taking out, but
well, it's not bad to use the punctuation for inches for measurements.
No, but there are some
normal.
places where she has like apostrophes, just a few.
Yeah, okay.
But
okay,
again, this is like nitpicky stuff.
But I'm okay with that. Please do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any things like that, but
yeah, I think one of the biggest things was something that Vikki had already talked about, which was just your shipping prices. Like,
yeah, I have to say that I took some notes on some of the shipping stuff. So, okay, so I already told you about the fabric part. I think your shipping is a little bit like some things you have free shipping, some things you don't. The really big, heavy stuff, I totally get not having free shipping on, because you do have a lot of big items, and that absolutely makes sense. I do think because you are on a separate coast from us, I will tell you that some of the stuff, your shipping is super high when you're using the calculated shipping, and I don't think that it needs to be. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like, so your pretty much anything that you can fit into a padded flat rate mailer, or anything that you think you can fit into a flat rate box, whether it's a large flat rate or a medium flat rate box, you really should offer the free shipping on. Built it into your price. And again, it's not because I'm like, oh, yay, eBay, free shipping. I'm not trying to push that because for any other reason other than I want you to have the best search results on your items.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your items are those one-of-a-kind type of things, a lot of vintage, a lot of mid-century. You're going to find your customer based on what the item is, not because you're going to have 30 of the same thing for them to flip through. But it really will help you to have free shipping. Like even, okay, so you've got like 5 Hallmark Christmas ornaments for $30 or best offer. I know those are super lightweight, but they're also small boxes. You have $6.70 shipping. Not that that's an excessive shipping amount, but that's something you could have offered free shipping on. Put it $34.95 and do free shipping. Those will fit in. They're under £1 even for all 4 of them. I'm sure it will fit in one box and chuck it down the road. But just little things like that. So like Hallmark is a category that's super saturated. You're probably not even being seen. That those are so far down the search results because they don't have free shipping.
Yeah, somebody will just like check that box for free shipping and they're not even going to see your listing.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me see, like certain things like you've got a roll of gift wrap for sale for $15, but it shows $10.28 shipping to me. I wouldn't want to pay $10 shipping for a roll of wrapping paper. And
I'm
it's
donating that.
Well, it's actually, I don't think it's a bad wrapping paper because it's real cute. Vintage wrapping paper sells.
It's over £1. It's just over.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
But yeah, and I would say some of the stuff I'm looking at, like I see a couple of things that are $14.99, free shipping. And I'm like, you know, considering because you're telling us that you have access to so much good stuff and you clearly know like what stuff is worth. In my mind, there's no reason for you to waste time taking pictures, listing, packaging up, shipping out something that you're only selling for $15 with free shipping. I get it if you're somewhere where you have a really hard time getting your hands on good stuff. But if you've got like a backlog of stuff in your house and in a storage unit that's like worth way more than that, focus on those items. List your highest valued stuff first.
Yes.
Because you want to be making money.
I mean, I have tons of items that are $15 and less and less too. So, I mean, but most of them are in the Lorna category that I just need to get rid of them. But yours, I mean, they're cute. I'm going to have to disagree a little bit with Katie on this one. We don't always agree on everything because I think a lot of your items that you're $15 and less are really cute. And
I'm not saying they're not cute. I'm not saying that they're crap.
Like
I'm just talking about like what the time you're putting into it.
Yeah, maybe going forward. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying to take it down by any means. I'm just saying like go ahead.
You guys are like the good angel and the bad angel, the same argument I have with my own self, right? So don't waste your time on this. But it's so cute. Look at it. So yeah, I have a strong pull nostalgia listing a lot of those lower dollar items, and a lot of it's like, oh, this is easy. A piece of clothing to me is easy. So yeah, I need you to say that again. Start with the highest dollar amount items, Laura.
Don't get rid of those really cute things that you love. Don't get rid of them yet. Set those ones aside and start listing the stuff that's a higher value.
So yeah, go through your backlog stuff and list your higher valued items first. I mean, you have honestly some of the most fantastic stuff. I definitely miss living on the East Coast when it comes to that type of sourcing. It doesn't exist here. I really can't find these beautiful mid-century items, your vintage, your collectibles. They're beautiful. I would have sold these things all day long. Your litho tin baby cradle, I would have sold that 100 times over. A lot of your stuff is stuff that I definitely would have sourced and sold myself on the East Coast and probably have a lot of it. But living here, we just don't have any. We don't have any of this stuff. So I get jealous when I see really good stuff that you can find everywhere. I'm from Rhode Island. I used to sell only antiques and collectibles, and they were just like you're saying. I'd walk out of my house and trip over something 100 years old. It was just, it was fantastic sourcing, and that just doesn't exist here. So I have had to change what I source and how I source for sure, based on geographical location. But your stuff is really good. Your photos are really good. I think your prices are in line. I think a lot of your stuff, as long as you have best offer, and that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Some things you have best offer, some things you don't. Anything under $20 or so, I wouldn't put best offer on either. But all of your other stuff, you're going to run sales here and there. You're going to run promoted listings here and there. You probably should have some wiggle room. put best offer across the board. I think that a lot of times, like me, you're going to get the offer anyway. You get the email or you get or a message from a buyer and they'll be like, will you take this? And then you can reply with offer. But I think if you have the best offer on every option, say over $20 or $25 or whatever your threshold is, make sure you have best offer on the items. I think more often than not, you're going to get good offers that you'd be willing to take.
Yeah. So Flippin' Particles, who is Decox, who's a new boss member, she wants to know why we think square photos are important. And Emily actually gave a pretty good answer down there. Basically what it is, if you look at, like I have this on the screen right now, you can see one of Laura's items that's not using a square. So if you look at eBay photos, the main photo especially, you're basically given a square for your real estate. That is the real estate for your picture. So if you don't have your picture formatted into a square, you can see there's white on the edges here. So you're not using the whole, like all of your real estate. So if this picture right here, I mean, it's not even showing the entirety of the item in that main photo. So this photo could be cropped to be a square, and then it would fill up the entire picture. So when somebody does a search for, so in this case, Ralph Lauren wallpaper, you want your picture, your main photo, to be taking up all of that space, because then it's going to be more eye-catching to somebody. You don't want it to be, so like if somebody was listing, if you're listing a pair of jeans and you take the picture and you're doing a full picture of those jeans, you do it in the long rectangular vertical picture because you want to get that whole pair of jeans in there, and then you upload it in your main photo, it's going to be so tiny and it's not going to look good. So yeah, so that's why I tell people to try, if you can possibly take the pictures in a 1-to-1 ratio so you don't have to do any cropping later. That's going to be your best bet. But that's basically
if you have a camera or a phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android and it's made in the last 2 or 3 versions, your camera is already going to have that option. You just need to go in and change your settings to a 1-to-1 ratio, and that's your square setting. If you have it on a camera, there are only a few cameras that you actually can use that, not on a phone, that have that setting. So they have to be a relatively new camera to have that setting, and you'll have to look and see if your model has that setting or not. It definitely makes a difference. You want to take the photo that way, because what happens when you try to crop them into the square photos, that you're going to lose part of your photo. It's not going to look the same as when you actually took the photo. So if you just start taking your photos that way and you don't have to edit them, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier. That's part of the whole streamlining thing. Like I put the work into setting up my photo system, like my photo area, my lights, everything, the way I take the picture, so that I would never have to do any color correcting, any lighting correcting, any cropping. I know there's some people out there who put a lot of time into that, and
erasing
you are just wasting your time. So you want to get like a decent white background, and hopefully get a good camera photo set up to where you're not having to go in and do all of this like crazy.
I never edit anything.
Yeah, you're just adding more time to your process. So
and my photos, 100%, her photos are definitely way better than mine. And again, I think it partly comes down to how many different things I sell and how. But I mean, now I'm sitting here looking at Laura's, and she sells all kinds of great, crazy things like me, and her photos are fantastic. So maybe I'm
just got some photo envy over here.
I do. I'm a terrible photographer.
Katie taught me that a long time ago. I don't waste my time editing either.
Yep. Yay! I don't edit, but some of mine definitely don't look as bright and cheery as yours do. So you're doing it way better than I am.
Well, thank you. But my iPhone 10, I'll mention this for other people who might have the problem. I don't have a blackout curtain in my room, in my office, and I do have a window. So during the day, sometimes I have to use the vibrant setting to get the actual like color of the item. So I sometimes feel like guilty, like I'm using a filter, but it's more how my eyes see it. So that might help people. With the iPhone, I mean,
as long as the pictures look like the item, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll pop color on something or just on my phone while I'm taking the picture. Sometimes you have to. I mean, some certain colors are hard to get. Flat black is one of those colors. It's really hard to get sometimes accurately if it has a sheen to it, or navy blue, some reds. It really depends on your lighting and the time of day. Like, you're right. I do have a blackout curtain where we take pictures. We take our pictures in front of the sliding glass doors. So we have a double layer curtain, and one of them is a blackout curtain. One is white and one is dark gray. And that's how we take our photos with her lighting system. So it works out well, but sometimes even with the blackout curtain, we're in the desert, dude. It is bright back there in the afternoon. And sometimes it comes through even through the blackout curtain. So it's going to distort the color a little bit. So I know what you're talking about. You know, I definitely have to struggle sometimes to get the right color on certain things.
It's an ongoing battle to get better pictures for sure. Hey, so Laura, I wanted to ask you, what is your handling time right now?
1 day.
Okay. So I see you don't have guaranteed delivery, and I'm wondering if it's maybe because you haven't hit the threshold for how much you have to sell over a certain period of time.
I got the email that I was gonna be in it, but I haven't like followed up to look at it. So
you should check it out, because I think they're automatically putting people in as long as you fulfill. So you should go and look at what all the requirements are, because right now none of your stuff says guaranteed delivery date. It just says estimated delivery date. So I would just look into that and find out what it is that you need to do. I mean, it's a little thing, but it's like, I always say the thing about like remove all obstacles. It's just like one more little thing that could hopefully add to more sales.
Right. If you're already doing the requirements, then we're not asking you to change anything, so just make sure that it says something there that it's within 1 day. Because some of your things say fast and free and some don't, and they are free shipping. So I'm not sure why they're showing that way. And
also shoot eBay for Business a message and ask them, because I did get the email that I was going to be automatically enrolled, and I think, wasn't it May 1st that rolled out?
It might have even been before that.
It was recently. I think it was the beginning of May that they started automatically. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll shoot eBay for Business a message today, and maybe that'll be the easiest way to figure it out.
Yes. It's tough to tell. I mean, it's one of those things. We can't see what you see on your screen. Obviously, it's a little bit different from the outside. We can only tell you what we see as a potential buyer. Right. What else do we have in here? So I see that sometimes you're using you do use promoted listings.
I do.
Okay. And do you go with the trending rate, or do you go with like 3% or 5%, or
I fluctuate like 3.5 and 5. I just started another campaign this morning and I did 5, but
I personally haven't seen a huge difference. But
I used trending rate just recently, and I haven't seen a huge difference either. So I mean, I end up selling about the same amount. Usually about 50 of my items a month are sold through promoted listings. But hey, it's 50 items that I may or may not have sold otherwise. So, you know,
absolutely
use the tools that they give us. That's all I do.
Also, we noticed that you don't have, I don't think you have anything on sale right now, but you do sales sometimes.
I do. Yeah. I had 3 different sales in 3 categories, in like 3 different price points running this weekend, and didn't sell anything that was on sale. So I had one ending tonight and one ending tomorrow, and I got mad earlier today and ended them both because I think I'm about to do like 50% off of certain items because I just need to move some crap out. So I got frustrated this morning.
It happens. I mean, definitely try to take advantage of Markdown Manager, or what they're calling Promotions Manager now. Sorry, to use the promoted listings and to run regular sales in your store. And, you know, like I said, you have everything, almost all of your higher priced items, at least you have best offer on. So I know that you're willing to accept a lower price. So sales should be kind of a given. I'm always running some type of sale in my store. I don't do it as aggressively as Katie. Sometimes I'm going to do 18% off. Sometimes I'll do as high as 33% off, and kind of everywhere in between. I run my sales for about a week at a time, and I run my whole store on sale. And then I'll start a new one, you know, as soon as the other one ends, just to kind of keep it. I don't know. Again, these are just things we do, you know, to keep it fresh by running a new sale right after the old one ends. I don't know if it just re-indexes or shows things differently or better. That's how I do it. And Katie does 50 and 40% off sales.
Yeah, that might be changing though, now that I'm not going to be able to go run sales for 14 days after listing something new. Rack Attack is asking about like how the search placement works. They feel like
nobody knows.
I know nobody knows, but they feel like, you know, other items similar are higher priced or not top rated seller or not free shipping returns, but they're shown before theirs. Here's the thing, you know, we don't know how it works, but eBay does tell us like what all the best practices are. There are a lot of things that go into it, and it's going to be the quality of your pictures. It's going to be the quality of your policies. So again, I get that you're saying some people who don't have free shipping are showing ahead of yours. but that is still going to have an impact overall. It's all little pieces that go into it. It's going to be what your pricing is. It's going to be, honestly, like, I do believe that like your feedback scores do go into it to a certain degree. I don't know how much. It might only be like 1% of the 100% things that they look at, but your feedback score does come into account. At some point coming in the near future, your return rates, not your overall return rates, but your return rates based on items not as described, things like that. You know, if you have like a lot of negative feedback, if you have, and I'm not saying you do, but all these different little things are going to go into effect. And yes, somebody else might have, might be charging for shipping, and they might show up ahead of you in the search. But there are a lot of buyers who click on the free shipping tab, and they're not going to see their stuff at all when they look. Yeah. So that's not necessarily going to hurt you. So
it's like your overall, based on offering all of these things or not offering all of these things, and your feedback score. And I think placement and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think your placement on eBay and your placement of certain items in search is basically every seller is going to have a report card. You're going to have a report card from eBay based on umpteen factors. Who knows what all these factors are, but basically best practices, you're going to have free shipping, you're going to offer returns, you're going to maybe offer free returns, you're going to have a high feedback, you're going to have, 98 or 99% or better. This is my assumption that all of these things factor into your personal score as a seller, and that's how your items are going to be placed.
Yeah. And then also like when you list it, because sometimes it takes like 24 hours for stuff to show up in the search. Like they say that it can take, there can be a delay, or things like when we think there's certain things that like reindex your stuff, whether you've started a new sale or you stopped a sale, or you started promoted listings or you stopped promoted listings. Like all of these things can have at any given time can potentially have an effect on like where you are at that moment in the search results. Yeah. So do we ever know what?
Because everybody that sells on eBay wants to know the secret to this algorithm and what algorithms are, and nobody knows. Yeah. But that was it could be, and I'm sure it's a constantly changing. Who said that? Emily said it's a fluid animal. I agree with that. I think they change how it works all the time.
Yeah. And Rocket Attack says, I have 0 INAD returns, 100% positive feedback. Like I said, I think those are very tiny factors, but the bottom line.
It's all good that
yes,
you have
it's
0
great,
returns.
But the bottom line is that eBay, when they say like the 10% discount that we get on final value fees, if you're a top rated seller plus whatever, it's like, yeah, is that really that big of a discount? No, but the requirements that they list for that, that's them telling us, here are the things that we think are a priority.
Yeah.
Here are the things that we value as a company. And if you value
we say
that,
our customers are value.
Right. And so the things like free returns and things like free shipping and offering international shipping and all these different things all add up to, here's what they're saying are best practices. And if you use these best practices, you're going to sell more because you're probably going to be it's going to help you in the search. It's going to help you in all these different ways. The 10% discount, forget about that. Like, yeah, that's a nice little bonus. It's not that much, big deal. But bottom line is that's their messaging to you. Do these things and you'll be more successful. So, but I get that it's frustrating when you don't know, like, why am I not showing up? Or, I mean,
it is frustrating. And you know what? It's frustrating when you're doing all of these things that we're telling you to do and you're still having crappy sales. So it's the nature of an online business that it's pretty hard to predict what's going to be hot one day and what's not, and how you're going to show. Yeah.
But my biggest advice to people who, if you're frustrated with your sales, don't just stop and blame eBay. Don't just, there's a lot of people get really angry and you hear a lot of complaining. And I'm not saying that that eBay doesn't play any part in it. I mean, things change, they affect all of us. But bottom line, for the most part, and this is what the whole boss group is about, the whole idea of Boss Up is about, it's about taking responsibility for your own success. And I'm telling you, the vast majority of people who say, I don't have any sales happening, or the people who are like super angry, when you actually do, like if you get a chance to look at their store, I mean, I'm looking at Laura's store and her store looks great. I mean, there's definitely things that she can improve.
There's a couple little things that you can change, but
overall, bottom line, most people that are like to the point where they're like, I'm quitting eBay and I'm stopping selling tomorrow. There's probably like a million things they could be doing to improve their sales. Honestly, like most of it's in your control.
Just throwing it up online is not going to mean that you are automatically going to sell everything you've listed and everybody wants your stuff.
Right. And the number one reason people aren't selling, and this is actually the number one reason that Laura isn't getting the sales that she wants. You don't have enough inventory.
Yeah,
that's bottom line. If you want to double your sales, Laura, double your inventory. I mean, yes, you need to make sure. I mean, I don't know like how super consistently you say about you're listing about 4 days a week. So I would say, being more active daily, even if it's only like a couple of listings.
Get up to 6 days a week if you can.
But the bottom line is, if you have more inventory, you're going to have more sales.
Yeah.
And so far we've done 3 reviews, and all 3 reviews, bottom line, you need more inventory. That's all it is.
Right.
Yeah.
How many listings did you guys have when you started selling every single day?
For me, it was when I hit about 1,000. So I started selling. I had my first sale in December of 2015. But I went pretty gung ho, hardcore. Like at that time, I only had a limit of 10 items a month I could list on eBay. So everybody who's new knows my struggle. So it started out super slow, but I pretty much tried to hit the ground running. And I was listing to my limit every single month, calling on day 27, because they say every 30 days they'll raise it. I'd call on like day 26, 27, and they'd give it to me like a few days earlier. And I would list to my limit, did that every single month. By the time I hit the 4th quarter of 2016, like around October, I think is when I hit 1,000 listings. And I would say when I hit like 250 listings was when I started to see more consistent sales. But when I hit 1,000, it was like I never had a 0 sale day after that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been selling for a long time, so I can't even remember when I had fewer than 1,000 listings anymore. I'm at about 2,200, and I will tell you, a little over a year ago, I went from about 1,200 to 1,300 listings up to around 2,000 listings, and that is when I saw about a 30% increase in my sales and my numbers in general. I used to sell, even though I was full-time, I was definitely more like you. I would sell and list here and there, and I always had a backlog. And my ex-husband was the major breadwinner, so I didn't need the income quite as much. That was our play money. It was our fun money. I contributed a little bit to the household, but it wasn't necessary. So it was definitely more, people would come to visit us in Vegas, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to take a week off and hang out with our friends. Right. I can't do that anymore. So my income is definitely more necessary. So I did start buckling down really hard about 3 years ago, and then even more so over the last year. So, and I've seen an increase in my sales year over year over year. And it's a direct result of me working harder year over year over year and getting more listings up year over year over year.
Yeah.
I've always sold good items, I think, but I've also had just as many crappy buys as anybody else. I've got some crappy stuff. Like I said, I've probably got a good 200 listings I need to just clear out and get rid of. I need to either have a garage sale, donate them, just get them out. It's just a pain in the neck to dig them out and go through. So I just kind of keep letting them relist.
But here's the thing. It's like, it really is about that regular activity, because even with her having over 2,000 listings, I've never hit 2,000, but I've been over 1,500 for a long time. The second we aren't able to list regularly, we see that in the sales.
Yeah.
This last 2 or 3 days was when I was moving here to Vegas. And there was like a few months there where we were traveling every 2 weeks. I'd come visit her, she'd come visit me. And so we were not listing as much as we normally would have been. And we both saw that in our numbers, in our sales numbers. It had an effect.
My fourth quarter sales were down about 25% from the previous year. And I had just as many items, but I was not listing as consistently.
Yeah. Teresa Cox, who started the Boss Facebook group and is one of our leaders there, she I think she has like 4,000 things in her store. She has some crazy huge number in her store, but she was focusing on Amazon for a long time. And also because she was moving. So Amazon was just easier for her because she could shop and then just send it in for FBA. And so she was moving a couple of times. So I think there were like literally months where she was not listing at all. But she had 4,000 active items.
So she was selling a little bit.
But her sales plummeted. And that's just the reality. So it's to me, it's like, if you have good listings, which you do, Laura, if you're overall, like your policies, your pictures, if that's all good, then it all comes down to regular listing and inventory size. Those two things together are the key.
And you have great items. You really, really do. You have great items. They're original items. They're things that people are not going to find dozens of. You have a good eye. The mid-century stuff is fantastic. Your vintage stuff is great. I freaking love it. I wish I had half your inventory. So you have a good eye. I mean, doesn't matter to me what your price point is or how you're buying, if you're getting a good enough ROI. I don't know. That's your business. But your stuff is really good, and it's definitely desirable for an MCM collector. I didn't see any junk. You don't have any fluff in your store. So that is half the battle, really more than half the battle, because there are so many sellers that don't know what to sell. There are so many sellers that think that they're going to, oh, I've got this at the bins. It cost me 25 cents, but it's only worth $12. Who cares? It's, you know, people need to know and learn what sells, what is desirable, what buys, what brands, what things are people want. Just because you can get something cheap and you could potentially sell it for $10, $12, $15 doesn't mean anybody wants it. And you've already figured that part out. And that is something that you really can't teach. You have to learn through instinct and through trial and error. And that's something that so many sellers just never, ever grasp that. And I see it every single day in certain groups that I'm in, and not just the boss group, but other groups. It's a fact, or kind of just an innate skill that not everybody has, and not everybody is going to grasp. And you already have that, and that's actually a really good thing. And you can't get that.
I look at my store as very indulgent, like all the art and pottery. Like I just like to sell things I like.
But that's what I do. It's like that's how, you know, you focus on the stuff that you like doing.
And you branch out from there. You know, you like buying the items because they're interesting to you. So you like selling them. So you treasure them. You photograph them well. It shows.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot too, because, you know, because I feel like my store is very indulgent. It's like, well, just because I like it, like, doesn't mean that's what I should be selling. You know, I see so much.
I think you're doing great. You know, I don't collect mid-century modern. I actually don't collect anything. It's not my specific style, but I understand it and I get it and I like it. And I can look at an aesthetic and I can look at something and say, oh, that's really cool. Someone's going to like that. So if it's not my thing and it's not something I want to collect, and I still think your stuff is fantastic, I mean, that says something. I think maybe.
All right. So
you don't collect anything?
No.
You don't collect anything?
She used to do more stuff with like music.
I hate clutter. I hate clutter. So I love peacocks. Like Katie jokes about her crazy cat t-shirts. I love peacocks. I have one of my spare bedrooms as a peacock theme. And my office has a lot of peacock things in it as well, but I'm very selective. I don't like, and I've been doing this since before peacocks were big, like unicorns are big and peacocks. So now they're everywhere. So
she's like one of those hipsters. She's like, I was into peacocks before everybody else.
I totally was into peacocks a long time ago. So I do that. And I do actually, I shouldn't say I don't collect anything. I collect a lot of Christmas stuff. I decorate, like my house looks like Santa like threw up. You know, I have like 5 Christmas trees.
We'll compare photos at Christmas time. That's our number one.
She literally does like 5 Christmas trees. Okay, guys.
I have 5 Christmas trees. I like to decorate. So
she has a peacock Christmas tree that's up year round. We'll take a picture of it and post it today.
I do.
Yeah.
But so that's the kind of stuff that I like. I don't collect like tchotchkes, I guess I should say. I don't. But yeah, some people could say I collect pinup dresses.
Yeah. Potentially. All right. So actionable tips. I think we've brought it down to regular listing, right, Laura? So you're gonna figure out how to like save some drafts so that when you want to go out and you want to party at the beach for the weekend, you're gonna save some drafts so you can at least make some go live each morning, right? So regular listing, and then building your inventory, starting with your most valuable items. Okay.
Yeah.
How's this sound?
Which is daunting because I have some winners in the pile, but a lot of it's like huge art and so I'll go attack the art pile today.
You can't sell it if it's not listed.
Oh man, seriously. So I don't do pants anymore. I don't really buy shorts or pants, but I have my notebook. And so like whenever I take pictures, I fill up my notebook, but depending on like how a day goes, sometimes a couple of items won't get listed, but then I'll take more pictures. And so I had like 3 items. It was a pair of jeans and the 2 pairs of shorts that were literally from like 3 months ago. And so I finally was able to go into my backlog of stuff that I needed to list, and I listed them. And it was a pair of Ocean Pacific, like old school Ocean Pacific 80s shorts, swim trunks. And I finally listed them, and I sold them this morning for $47.99. I listed them 2 days ago. So it's like $50 for a pair of used swim trunks. And I sold them for 50 bucks, guys. And they've been sitting in my inventory for months, and I haven't gotten them listed. So yeah, and you probably have stuff that's worth way, way, way more than that. Yeah. But anyway, okay. And I also, we're pretty much at the end of our show now. We got 50 people watching. That's super awesome. I didn't talk about our sponsor, which Sizely is our sponsor. We love Sizely. I have the link down below if you want to try them out. They do have a free version that you can check out. The paid version, the one I use, is the pro version. It's $8 a month or $7 a month if you sign up for a whole year. I've been using them for a couple of years, even when they're free. I love them, which is why I've been using
them for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, which is why I basically hunted them down and it was like, "Will you sponsor me? Because I love you." But anyway, so she finally started using them a few weeks ago. What do you think now that you've been using them?
I'm in love. Yeah. I don't know why I waited so long, because I knew about them for a long time through you, but I just hadn't done it. And I'm just so used to sitting there with my tape measure and typing all my measurements in my listing. And this is so much easier now. The body of my listing is like 2 sentences.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I do all men's clothing, but so the measurements are pretty simple, like measurements on a t-shirt. Like, you probably could go without having like the visual of it, but I like having the visual. But if you're selling women's clothing, like you're selling a dress, it's like we've talked about, like how different types of clothing are, like vintage, whatever. I mean, if you're selling a dress, being able to like visually show, here's where I measured the bust, here's where I measured the waist, the hips, the length. Like, there's so much that goes into a dress. Being able to have that visual, I think, is going to be huge for hopefully bringing down some of your returns. I mean, you're going to know if you go to buy a dress, if you wear a large and you go buy that dress, if you're able to see like, oh, here's what the bust measurement is. Because like you, I mean, you're curvy, you have a smaller waist, but then you're a little bigger on top, and then you got some hips. So
measurements are really important to me. I can't buy anything without the measurements.
And some people don't really
size, I'm in between sizes, and I'm really busty. So it really depends on, if there's stretch or what on the top of something. And if I bought according to my basic size, I would look like I was wearing a tablecloth most of the time. So I have to buy certain things that fit certain ways, and measurements are super important to me. I want things to fit my body properly. Yeah. So I'm always looking for specific measurements.
I think that makes the listings look more professional personally, to have that like.
No, I like it. I put in my listing, I mean, the body of my listing now is pretty much like whether something is new or pre-owned, if there are any defects, and then I put see last photo for exact measurements.
Yeah.
It's like 2 to 3 sentences.
I'm telling you, there are so many sellers who don't even like type out the measurements at all. So if you're one of those sellers, knock it off, guys.
I always typed out.
I know a lot of you are doing it. I hope none of you are doing it, but some of you are, because I see it all the time on eBay. Don't just say that you have some medium jeans or whatever, or medium shirt. I mean, come on, every shirt is measured differently. Even if I have 2 Nike t-shirts that are both size medium, that are both used, they're different in measurement. They just are. They are. They get washed, they get used, they stretch, they shrink, all those things. So knock it off. At least put your measurements in typing, but try out Sizely, because it's pretty cool.
I just want to quickly scan through some of the questions. There's just one that is jumping out to me. So Calling or Calling 98, any tips on how to build inventory when your capital is low? That's probably one of the most difficult things to get started or to keep rolling when your capital is low. First of all, source your home. That's the best thing best advice.
You probably have stuff in your house that you don't need,
that you can sell for free, that you can acquire. And then every bit that you sell from those items, put it aside and use that to buy inventory. If not from your house, ask family and friends. Family and friends, are you going to have a yard sale? Or if you were going to have a yard sale, what would you donate? Or if you're going to take a bag to donate to Goodwill, what would you, I'm looking for some stuff to throw in my store. Can you go through your closets and give me a bag of stuff?
Most people have crap they want to get rid of from their house. And the more you talk to people about what you do, the more likely your friends and family are going to be like, here, you can have this.
Yeah. And that's how I started. And that's how a lot of people start. And if you can use that and then be disciplined and take that money from the items that you got for free, put that aside separately, and then use that money to buy other items. That's how you keep the ball rolling. And I know, and everybody is at that point at one point or another where you have low inventory and you don't have the capital to go and buy inventory. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get inventory. Nobody's going to go from 100 items to 2,000 items in 1 week.
Right.
Build slowly, build a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can add to that. I, as a beginner, had great luck on Craigslist. I'm kind of a Craigslist stalker.
Yeah.
So if you're in a metro area, search those free sections on the weekends. I mean, this
After
past
yard
Sunday,
sales?
I think I saw 4 separate free garage sale leftover postings because nobody wants to deal with it. So, I mean, that's how I got free packaging materials and ended up meeting my landlord. Like, I've got all sorts of beautiful things up for Craigslist. So I always like to throw that out there because it's a hidden treasure trove.
Very smart.
And if Big Thrift Allison says I have to get on that Sizely train, is there a bar car? Absolutely.
Always, always. All right, guys,
bar car.
we are like way over time. I mean, I guess we can do as long as we want to, but continue longer because I'm sure you all have more work to do. But thank you so much for joining us for the Boss Up and List live show. Again, Boss Up and List, the virtual listing party that we do all day every Wednesday is going to keep going for the rest of today. So if you're not in the Boss Facebook group, join the Boss Facebook group and you can contribute to the Boss Up and List thread that we have going on to help hold yourself accountable and just kind of be a part of the party with everybody else. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe down below. Make sure you hit the little notification bell next to it so you do get notified when new content comes up. If you haven't hit thumbs up and you like the show, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the show, give it a thumbs down and watch me cry. So that'll be okay.
And I don't have a channel, so subscribe to Katie's channel, and she forces me to do these things with her. So
I do.
You'll see me. You'll see me just as much as her, almost. So
it's true.
I'm sorry about that in advance.
All right, and Laura, thank you so much for doing the show with us, even though you couldn't see us the entire time because you're just staring at the back of your Surface Pro.
I know this has been interesting, but thank you both so much for the input, and I'm on my way to go list now.
Good girl.
Yay! All right, guys, get back to listing and boss up.